Let's go.
Welcome to CC's Political Corner. I am your host, Captivating Christian, and a federal judge on Wednesday rejected the Trump administration's attempt to toss out a lawsuit over missing notes documenting President Trump's face-to-face meeting with Vladimir Putin. The Washington Post first reported back in January that the Trump had gone to extraordinary lengths to conceal the details of his meeting with Putin, seizing the notes from his interpreters after the leaders' first meeting back in 2017, and ordering the translators not to disclose the details of the discussion. Furthermore, the Post also reported that no details, records of Trump's communications with Putin actually existed, prompting a flurry of document requests from Congress and outside groups. Congress has been basically for a long time been requesting for these documents of secret meetings that Donald Trump has had with Vladimir Putin, and they have been rejected every time. So they took it, before the federal courts, and Donald Trump, his administration, however, has also went before the federal judge to request that they have the ability to toss the notes away. Now, however, that's a double kind of thing, because one, all presidential notes are to be kept for historical purposes. The president is a figurehead, so the president is somewhat like a walking museum, so to speak. The president and the presidency is a walking museum. So everything is documented, from what he eats to what he snacks on to everything. I mean, his whole day, there's a reason why the president has a presidential log, because everything that the president does throughout the day is categorized and logged for historical purposes. So with that, like I said, all notes, phone calls, meetings are kept. Congress has requested for these notes. They have been rejected by the White House. The White House has then went before a federal judge to get them tossed so they can throw the notes away, and the federal judge has denied that request. So as of now, Trump has to turn over his notes with his meetings with Vladimir Putin. These notes may also kind of bring to light certain things that maybe Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump don't want the rest of the public to know about. Maybe some money dealings or some things that they may be involved with. But my whole point is, if you don't have anything to hide, why try to toss these notes? It must be something in them that must be incriminating to some degree. So keep a lookout for that. And that's new. Also, as you know, the articles of impeachment have been handed down, and there are two. Articles of impeachment are charges that are drafted up against a public official to initiate the impeachment process. The articles of impeachment do not result in the removal of office, but they are charges. So, similar to how it's done in a civil manner with citizens, you go before a grand jury. A grand jury are law enforcement professionals, be them some lawyers, judges that may be retired, police captains, so on and so forth. They become a jury, they hear the case before them, and they decide whether or not the defendant should be charged. Now, if they do find that there is some guilt and the defendant should be charged, then charges are handed down. The charges that are handed down is called the indictment. The indictment that comes down does not necessarily convict the person, but they are pending charges. So once the pending charges, then you go to a trial. Then from a trial, the jury is picked from your peers. Then, they hear the evidence, they hear the cross-examination and the examination of witnesses and closing arguments from both sides. And then after that, they deliberate, they come up with a verdict, and then the verdict is read, and then the charges fall as followed. After that, then the sentencing takes place, and the sentencing is usually sometime after the charges. So in this process, the articles of impeachment are the two, the abuse of office and the obstruction of Congress in its investigation of his conduct regarding Ukraine. And the obstruction comes from him blocking many political figureheads that were important to the investigation from testifying, like the Secretary of State, the National Security Advisor, the Chief of Staff, so on and so forth. They have rejected the subpoena to come before Congress due to a White House protection of presidential privilege, which the White House protects them from basically testifying against the president. So that's all we have with that. They do reconvene tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock to continue the process. More than likely, of course, because there are Congress led by the Democratic Party, these charges will be handed down and he will be impeached. Then from this process, he will then go before a trial in the Senate. And whether or not he's convicted, that's still up in the air. But more than likely, the way these Republicans have been acting lately to be so patriotic, he may not be. But yep, that's where we are right now. So far, the two articles of impeachment or charges have been basically put forth. It's the abuse of his power or abuse of office and the obstruction in the congressional investigation of his conduct in regards to Ukraine. All right. So always remember to please like, share, and subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. And also, lastly, please, please, please be the change that you want to see. If you want to see change, you have to be that change.